It's the Red Sox and the Dodgers game one of the 2018 World Series coming up tomorrow, and we have the history that both of these ball clubs bring.
And a full recap. I mean, you had to watch the Patriots game till the very end. It was a nail-biter and a game of inches.
And it's game night for the Celtics as well. They take on the Orlando Magic at the Garden.
This is NBC 10 Boston. Boston's 10.
All right, happy Monday morning, everybody. 4 a.m. I'm Krista Del Camp.
I'm Brian Shackman, and for Latoya, this is my kind of show. It's a sports show.
That's right.
That's awesome. I love it.
We're going to get you caught up with all your hometown sports this morning, but we got to talk about the freezing temperatures.
Yes, and actually, to transition to a much more serious topic, for a lot of people, this is almost even like a health issue overnight, Matt.
Well, that's it. You know, being a lifelong Merrimack Valley guy, I can tell you the Merrimack Valley, the spots without heat this morning. It's another cold night. This is akin to what we had Thursday night. North Andover Center downtown, it's 32 degrees right now. South side of Harold Parker State Forest is 28. Osgood Street's 28. Elm Square in Andover is 30. West Andover is 29. So it's been another very uncomfortable night for those without gas, without heat in parts of the Merrimack Valley. Around the area right now, it's 27 degrees at Bedford, 26 at Norwood, 24 at Fitchburg. You get the idea. It's like a winter chill getting out the door this morning. Some of the good news here is that much like we saw last Thursday night, we have dry air that comes with the cool. So radar scope's a little bit of clutter, but that's about it. Some areas of clouds over northeast Mass, not a real big deal. So the forecast for today, look, we will warm up, yes, but not by a lot. The feels like forecast still keeps us in the 40s throughout the course of the day today. Actual highs will come close to 50, but that's about it by the end of the day. It's a coat, sunglasses, and jeans kind of day. We'll talk about the changes that come in the forecast here in just a few moments, but right now let's take it over to Natasha Verma. We'll check the early morning drive.
Hi, Matt. Good morning, everybody. We've got an early morning crash out in Braintree. This is 93 northbound of Route 37, though I do believe it's very close to clearing up, because when you look at the expressway right now, it's nice and clear. We've got minor delays heading northbound, plenty of space in between the cars. We've got early morning construction out in Newton. It's on the Pike westbound of Route 16, but beyond that on the Pike again, plenty of space in between the cars. Here's a look at the MBTA, commuter rail, and subways all running on time. That's your latest check. We'll send it back over to you guys.
Natasha, thank you very much. Wow, what a week. We're gearing up for a big one. The Red Sox facing the Los Angeles Dodgers in the World Series, 4 wins, and they are champs yet again. Game one tomorrow night at Fenway. The Sox and Dodgers, well, in terms of history, they've only met once in October. That was more than a century ago. And look at this. I could watch this all day on a loop. That's Dave Roberts with a huge steal in the ALCS in 2004 against the Yankees. Well, now he's the manager of the L.A. Dodgers, so it's a nice little interesting element to it. By the way, Alex Cora used to play for the Dodgers. If you're looking for good omens, by the way, consider the past regular season matchups between these two. The Dodgers have beaten the Red Sox just one time at Fenway Park, and that was all the way back in that curse-breaking year of 2004. All right, so here's the schedule if you want to just make sure you write it down and get ready. Tomorrow night, 8:09 first pitch, then game 2 also 8:09 on Wednesday. Games 3 and 4 head to the West Coast Friday and Saturday. Game 5, if necessary, also in LA. So it's a 2-3-2 series. And if there's a game 6 and game 7, that is back at Fenway next Tuesday and Wednesday. And of course, we're all over. We'll be on both coasts. Kristen and I will also be live for you tomorrow morning at Fenway Park with full coverage ahead of game 1. Of course, our coverage starts at 4 a.m.
All right, can't wait for that. We've got to talk about the Pats. They did it again. They got a win on the road, and this time it was against the Chicago Bears. Yesterday was their 5th consecutive win against the Bears. A very exciting game. At one point, the Pats were down 10. Then in the third, it was all tied up, and then the momentum swinging in their favor. Dante Hightower blocks the punt. Kyle Van Noy does the rest. He takes it in for 6. The Pats go up a touchdown. Well, the Bears hung around. They had a shot to send it to overtime. Mitch Trubisky's Hail Mary gets caught by Kevin White. The Pats keep him out of the end zone, and that close. Final score 38-31 Patriots.
Obviously, it came down to about 1 yard, and but I think for us to get a win on the road was something we've been talking about, something we needed to do, and we played a little bit better today. I think there's still a lot of things we could do better. And Bears have a good team, so it was a great team win.
And the Pats improved to 5-2 on the season, and they will face the Bills next Monday in Buffalo.
Your time is 4:04, and some other news to get to on this Monday morning. A pedestrian hit and killed by a car in Seabrook, New Hampshire. Police say around 8 o'clock last night, 51-year-old Andrew Dobson of Salisbury was hit by a Jeep on Ocean Boulevard. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. The cause of the crash remains under investigation. Also new this morning, we now know the name of the suspect who allegedly stabbed a state trooper in New Salem. 18-year-old Ngia Lee of Manchester, New Hampshire, now facing multiple charges. Officials say he stabbed the trooper after a police pursuit through multiple states on Friday. Lee was shot by the police after the stabbing. Meantime, we're told the state trooper is still in the hospital, but in stable condition. In Brockton, we're learning the man who was shot by police after allegedly waving a knife at two officers has passed away. According to the Plymouth County DA's office, Christopher Calabro died Friday at Brigham and Women's Hospital. He was shot on Court Street last week, and an investigation into the shooting remains ongoing.
We have the latest now on the situation in the Merrimack Valley amid these freezing temperatures, and day-to-day life there is just getting so tough for people who still do not have gas service, especially with these temperatures. NBC 10's Nia Ham spoke with several residents who say the current conditions are now impacting their health.
Susan Letourneau says she's had this nasty cough for nearly 2 weeks that she can't seem to shake, along with persistent headaches.
They seem like tension headaches. They start in the front of my head.
Despite medication and keeping warm with this space heater, she's still sick.
I mean, I get a cold once a year. This is, and it's never this early.
Over in Andover, Bernadette Leonetta says she's also been getting headaches recently.
An overall feeling of not feeling physically good.
And in North Andover, Linda Battagini is getting over bronchitis and pneumonia.
They gave me antibiotics, an inhaler, and some steroids.
The Merrimack Valley women have been without heat since the gas explosions over a month ago. They blame stress and the cold for their symptoms.
I kind of felt myself that it was just due to the stress.
It's a constant worry about the unknown.
Dr. Hillary Kramer of Massachusetts General Hospital says this is common for disaster survivors.
I'm not surprised. Number one, people are stressed. Number two, it's cold weather happening.
She says people in these situations should be vigilant.
Trying to diminish smoking and drinking and stressful situations because those can exacerbate what can be underlying.
Letourneau says Columbia Gas has reimbursed her for some of her medical co-payments. Meantime, these women worry that their health could worsen if their gas doesn't get turned on by the November 19th deadline Columbia Gas must meet.
I'd like to be able to take a shower in my own home.
Dr. Kramer also advises everyone to get their flu shots no matter what, and Columbia Gas is providing alternative housing for anyone who has no heat and needs it, as well as transportation to hotels and apartments for people who do not have it. We're now reporting outside of Massachusetts General Hospital, Nia Ham, NBC 10 Boston.
And sad to say, there is a new scam we want to tell you about involving Columbia Gas. In fact, they have a warning for you this morning. The company says that someone is leaving fake service requests slips. Take a good look. That's on the left-hand side of your screen. They're directing these to homes in the Merrimack Valley. The company says that it will always leave slips like the door hanger you see on the right. It includes the company phone number and the logo.
Your time is 4:08, and developing right now is a growing caravan of Central American migrants, are making their way through Mexico toward the U.S. border. We're told about 7,000 people walked for 20 miles yesterday. Now, this caravan began in Honduras. It was stopped at the Mexican border. A small number of people seeking asylum were actually allowed in. Others were sent back to Honduras. However, thousands decided to continue the journey to reach the U.S. despite threats by Mexico to deport them.
Why are you fleeing your country? ¿Por qué se está yendo de su país?
Porque no hay empleo en nuestro país.
Because there are no jobs in our country.
Nosotros salimos huyendo del centro del país por lo mismo.
I have suffered gang violence in the neighborhoods where I lived, and that is why I fled the country.
Some of the migrants say they are willing to stay in Mexico, but most do want to get to the U.S. They plan on walking at least another 20 more miles today.
And developing right now in Saudi Arabia, the foreign minister says the Saudi crown prince had no prior knowledge of that meeting that led to the death of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. This week, Saudi Arabia admitted the journalist was killed in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, Turkey, after a fist fight. That's what they said with officials. However, members of Congress are not buying that explanation, and many say that this is a cover-up intended to shield the Crown Prince. Meantime, President Trump says he wants to know where Khashoggi's body is and is promising more answers by tomorrow. This morning, we're also learning that Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein is expected to testify before 2 House committees coming up on Wednesday. The committees say they intend to ask him questions about allegations that he secretly taped President Trump and sought to remove him from office. He'll face lawmakers from the House Judiciary and Oversight Committee and the Government Reform Committee, and that interview will be held under oath. Big turn here. If you thought lottery ticket lines were long last week, this week, I'm betting that they're going to get even worse.
There are so many outlets now, they're usually on lines, but there actually were lines on Friday night when I went into a 7-Eleven. There were no winners for Powerball or Mega Millions. So for Powerball, it's up to $620 million. That drawing is set for Wednesday night. Then comes the Mega Millions. That grows to a record $1.6 billion, and I actually think it's probably going to go higher. That drawing is tomorrow night, so if you combine the 2 jackpots, that's about $2.22 billion at stake.
I still haven't gotten my ticket yet.
I think maybe it's
pretty
time.
lame. It's time.
Maybe it's time. I don't know. Some people think it's not worth it even then. 4:10 is your time. Up next on NBC 10 Boston, game night at the Garden. We have details on tonight's Celtics matchup and where you can watch the game.
And this brawl costing some players big time. Find out which NBA stars got benched for the next game coming your way.
Manchester, New Hampshire right now, 30 degrees, even though the wind's out of the south and light. That southerly wind will help us a little bit. Not a ton today. Details on the forecast for all of us coming up next.